Gared on the Go Time Walt Disney World reporter Gared Hassel is standing by for us. It looks like at Epcot in one of the
Yes.
final days of Walt Disney World's operation for the month of March. What's shaking, man? And things look normal out there?
Surprisingly, it's a little quieter than typical business here at Epcot, but for the most part, people seem to be in good spirits. People walking around, giving a wider berth to other people. But for the most part, things are still going as usual. They still have all the same shows, all the same interactions going around. They still have characters interacting and giving hugs and shaking hands with everyone. So it appears to be a normal day here. But the first news story I want to cover is no doubt what everyone already knows, but it is that Walt Disney World, alongside Disneyland Paris and the Disney Cruise Lines, will be ceasing operations, will be suspending operations. For Walt Disney World, it will happen after a business day on March 16th, which is Monday. It was originally the 15th, but they extended that to the 16th. So once the essentially once Mickey clocks out of work on the 16th, operations will suspend until the end of March. And now that is just for the parks. The hotels will remain open until further notice, and Disney Springs will remain open, doing its normal operations with merchandise and whatnot. So there still will be business going on here at Walt Disney World. It's just specifically the parks, which is where the largest congregation of guests are, that will not be going on. So I will not be able to walk around the parks. However, I can still walk around the resorts and go to Disney Springs, as it were. So that's the biggest news story right now. But so far, everything isn't good. It's a gorgeous day out here in Florida. But do you have any specific questions that I can potentially answer for you, Mr.
Well,
Wade?
so we just heard recently that the college program is ending over in Disney World, right? And I mean, that's really a huge bummer. I mean, not just for the poor people that are now out of the job, basically, but also the fact that Disney is basically saying, okay, everybody with minimum wage, time to go get on an airplane and go home.
Sure.
Which really seems irresponsible to me. How do you feel about that, Gared?
Coming from the college program, that is really, it's saddening. In shortened words, it sucks. It really does. But you know me, I always try to find the bright side of things. The positive is that when these cast members, these CPs, they leave, they will, in their records, it will say that they have completed their program. So if they ever wanted to come back in and either be a part of the college program again or work for the Walt Disney Company, they have that opportunity. So it's not like you're fired. It's more of a layoff than anything. But essentially, they've been told that you have to clear your housing and essentially find your way home. And it really stinks because for a lot of these people, they don't have anywhere to go back to. They were in college and they put a stop, so they don't have a house to go back to. And for those that may not be as close with their families, they may not have the ability to go back there. So for some of them, they are stranded out here because there are many people in the college program that have apartments that do not live as part of Disney college program housing. So for that, they are stuck. You have to pay your rent, but you don't have a job anymore. So that was news that I learned from Ariel a little bit ago, that her friend, who is a college program cast member, said, I don't have a job here anymore. They're letting me go. And it all comes down to budget. If they are losing money in one area, where do you take it out of? You take it out of the, essentially the, quote unquote, the least used spot. That's not the correct terminology, but it is very saddening. If it was me, I'd probably be crying my eyes out, because I mean, for many people working for Disney, that is their dream. They put a hold on school so that they can come work for this company and be a part of a magic here at Walt Disney World. So it's sad, especially imagine you're in the middle of your shift and you're then told, yeah, this is going to be your last day, essentially, or you have 2 days left of work and then peace out. Like it's very, I'm trying to think of the word. It's not very personable. It's just sort of corporate, but at the end of the day, this is a business, and businesses are made out of dollars and cents. And if you can't make money, you got to learn where to cut the budget. So it's a tough. I'm sure it's not an easy decision. I'm sure the people at corporate were like, they don't enjoy doing this. They don't enjoy doing that. So for those that think that, oh, Disney's doing this despite us, it's not. Disney doesn't want to do this. They love having college program people simply because you're so cheap to hire, and they know how much energy you have, but it's not an easy thing. So it is very saddening to hear that. So my heart goes out to the college program people, because that's what I used to do. So my heart goes out to you guys.
I guess I feel like the inexcusable part to me, and maybe you guys disagree or whatever, but you tell me that Disney released that statement saying they were going to be paying, cast members, and then to kind of sneakily pull out the rug from under that after they already told everybody they're going to continue paying cast members. I think that's a little inexcusable.
Yeah, and certainly, Disney College Program cast members, for those that don't know specifically what that is, College Program cast members are interns, basically. So they do a working internship for a certain period of time, usually a semester or two of their college life. They will spend working for places like Walt Disney World and Disneyland. So to hear that, they're the first to be sort of cut in this situation, as we continue to allegedly hear, basically, I knew cuts were coming. That's for sure. They had to start somewhere. I didn't know they'd start that quick, but definitely with the Asian parks, as well as Paris now joining that group in parks that are going to be shut down, but the Asian parks having been shut down already. I knew that cuts were coming in some capacity. Didn't know if it was going to be entertainment, didn't know if it was going to be through studios, didn't know how they were going to do it, but from a business perspective, while I agree with you, Tyler, I knew the college program was probably going to be the first to be reduced.
I just wish that they chose their wording better, because we're also hearing that people in like that work at the Mexico Pavilion, for example, are out of luck because they technically work for a different company. And it's just those things where it's like, I think they shouldn't have said what they said if this is the way that it was going to turn out.
Yeah, those third-party vendors that operate in Disney's environments, who are wearing the same name tag as other cast members, right? Who are wearing the same name tag as a Disney cast member. Those individual third-party businesses not necessarily going to pay for this 2-week shutdown, as Disney has said they are going to pay their cast members. So, a lot of loose ends to tie up, a lot of things that don't make sense right now. Obviously, this announcement to close the domestic parks, unprecedented as we know, but at the same time, a lot of cast members, a lot of leaders within the organization didn't even know this was about to happen. The announcement got made. People were still wondering, wait a second, why am I hearing this from the media? How come I didn't hear this from my superior? So it does sound like, this was a decision that was made spur of the moment as a reaction to the California governor's executive order to shut down groups of more than 250 from gathering. And he said during his press conference, the governor did, that that didn't necessarily mean Disneyland or theme parks, which I found fascinating, because how do you say no more than 250 people, but theme parks are exempt? And then that led to Bob Iger mentioning that, well, this was going to be the right thing to do, and to shut things down now. It is tough to know that there are people that are being sort of missed in the mix of this, and employees that are not being taken care of the way that they should. But at the same time, I do want to give you just a little bit of flexibility for the organization, because who would have thought they were going to be, a week ago, who would have thought they were going to be shutting things down?
Sure. I know, Universal was struggling. Universal Orlando especially they have been really mixed messages with all their team members of telling them they need to come to work. They need to get in their costume, come to work, and then stand around or something. I don't know. And then another email went out, I guess, that said, oh no, actually only really vital people will need to come in. But it's just one of those things where this has hit us so quickly that these are like, when you think of these giant companies, they're like lumbering beasts. They're not gonna turn around, and figure this stuff out in a few minutes. They needed their time, because there's so many moving parts and people to deal with, and I get that it can be confusing. I just think that needs to be a major focus of theirs right now. So.
I don't disagree with you there. Gared, what else do you have to share with us?
You all know me as I like to see the brighter side of things. I try and look at things with the glass half full. And so my thoughts are that while this is terrible that the parks are closing, because everyone loves Disney, they love the Walt Disney Parks, especially those that are annual pass holders like myself and you guys. But my bright side of things is that Walt Disney World, Disneyland, and all the parks, even the cruise lines, they aren't going anywhere. They're not tearing them up and destroying the land. This is a temporary shutdown of operations in the hopes of helping this of COVID-19 not to spread and affecting more lives. So while it is sad, I think that this, as the parks are gone, but the spirit of the Walt Disney Company and the spirit of Walt Disney is in each and every one of us. So there's still plenty of videos on YouTube where you can still experience that magic, watch it. There's all of Disney Plus where you can watch the Imagineering Store. If you want to feel that park magic, like I did when I saw that, you can do that. And I like to see this time as a time period where Disney can improve, since the majority of the cast members will be at home, either working from home or doing stuff. I'm curious as to whether the construction of certain things will continue to go on, such as the painting of Cinderella Castle at Magic Kingdom that is currently being remade, or not remade, but remodeled to reflect the 50th anniversary coming next year. They're going to be doing rose gold paint on there along with gold accent marks. And we know Tyler's not a big fan of it, but I'm curious if during this time period, since there are no guests and they don't have to worry about anything, if they can just work around the clock with essential personnel, because when you're in a profession such as construction, painting, or the manual labor, you typically have to wear gloves and protective equipment, and you're typically not going to be huddled together. You're in your section, you're in your section. So I'm hoping that they can use this time to put that together, get things worked on, maybe touch up on certain areas, give things a really deep clean that hasn't gotten clean. Like you go to, for example, the American Pavilion here in Epcot, and there might be cobwebs around the window, maybe using this time to spray things out, get them clean. So I'm trying to see the glass half full as, you know what, they can use this time to fix things, to repair things, to get things in working order. If things are behind simply because there can't be guests seeing what's going on during the day, now is the time to do it. But there are no guests being around, you can completely do everything. You can have trucks on Main Street in the middle of the day and not have to worry about that. So I'm trying to see it as the glass half full. But another news story I want to talk about is that since I'm here at Epcot, the Flower and Garden Festival of 2020 has began. It began on March 4th and is going until until June 1st, someday that starts with a J. And I'm very happy about that. There hasn't been any word on whether they're going to extend it 2.5 weeks since the parks will be closed, because it is one of the longest festivals. It is the longest festival besides Food and Wine. And if they need to expand it later into June, there's still that ability. But overall, though, that's the big thing, is that Flower and Garden's going on right now. It's not as, I don't know what it is, but for me, it's not as glamorous as it once was. It doesn't have that pizzazz factor. There used to be a lot more topiaries, but again, a good majority of this park is under construction. I'd say at least a quarter of this park, or maybe a fifth of this park is under construction right now. So there's not a whole lot of topiaries going on right now, but still it is beautiful to walk around and see the flowers, see the gardens and all the animals going about. But no word has been given as to whether or not they're going to be extending this time period for this festival. But I think the main focus right now is, of course, the cast members. Hopefully, it would be nice for the college program to say, hey, you guys are actually back in, but it's not going to be fair to be like, hey, you're gone. Actually, never mind. Come on, move back in, because that's just how it is. But that is my thoughts right here. I'm
curious if they're going to extend it too, to be honest. And I know it's a different park out here in Disneyland, but they sell their sip and savor passes at Disneyland for the Food and Wine Festival there. And for anybody that doesn't know, you can pay one price and you get a bunch of tickets. I think it's like 8 or 9 tickets or something like that, and then you can use the tickets to get the food. They weren't selling that yesterday.
Interesting.
So that makes me think that they're not planning on extending this thing. It's going to stay what the times that they set for it is what it's going to stay. And I'm kind of assuming that they're going to do the same thing for Flower and Garden. I think they're going to say when it's over, it's over. With Food and Wine and things like that, we've heard they're going to be donating all their food that they're not using to different organizations and charities and things. So that's a really good thing. I would like to see it extended, but I'm not sure it's going to happen either.
Yeah, given the current climate, can't see that happening. In fact, as a matter of fact, I think there's a lot of consideration being paid into what happens after the shutdown is supposed to end, and what does that look like moving forward from a health and safety perspective. And when it comes down to food preparation, that isn't necessarily in a custom pre-built kitchen, but in a booth. So I think that all of the health and safety measures are going to be taken a hard look at. Disney already has very high standards when it comes to health and safety in their theme parks and on their properties and in the Disney Cruise Line. But I think that things may change even more so coming out of this, and they're going to use the next 2.5 weeks or so to really double down on their policies, double down on their standards, and look at what could even be enhanced further. Gared, anything else from Walt Disney World before we let you go?
Yeah. One final thing is that if you're an annual pass holder, your annual pass will be extended during this period of suspended operation. So if you, my pass expires in May, May 1st. So now it'll be pushed back 2.5 weeks. So then I have it until say May 15th, May 16th. So that is nice that you paid X amount of dollars. We're now cutting that out. They are just going to extend it. So that gives you a little bit more time to make up for the lost time that you had. So I think that is good on Disney's part to say, hey, we know you spent good money on these tickets. They are usable into the future. So that is nice. But other than that, my heart goes out to the college program cast members, because even I used to be one of them. So they're family to me. But it's sad that the parks are closing, but I see it as a time of repair, reflection, and that the spirit of Walt Disney is never gone, so long as people like us here believe in it. So the parks may be closed, but there's still so many outlets that you can go to experience Disney, whether it is via YouTube watching clips, Disney Plus, or just driving by it. Maybe you'll feel some energy. While the parks are closed, I live behind the park, so I tend to sometimes cut through the parks to get to where I'm going. If I'm looking to get a Hollywood Studios, I will go through the back of Magic Kingdom. So I'm curious to see how those roads will be affected, and I'll go through those and experience them and try and capture some of the magic, see how many cars are on the road. Is there added security? Are they blocking roads? So I'm curious to see how that will go. But that is all I have at this time with what is going on here at Walt Disney World. On the plus side, the seagulls here, they don't seem to notice anything going on at all. So at least the seagulls are happy.
Well, there's plenty of content that we will be producing throughout the next couple of weeks as well. So Culinary Report Live isn't going anywhere. Saturday to Saturday, we'll still be around. We're also going to be covering the closures every week and throughout the week. As a matter of fact, we're doing updates right now almost daily when it comes to things that are changing, whether that be updates about the coronavirus in the states of Florida and California, or even what's happening with things like Disney Cruise Line, Adventures by Disney, that sort of thing. So you can always tune to us here at the Culinary Report and check out our channel on YouTube to ensure that you are subscribed and have that notification bell turned on so that you never miss any of our content. And I know, Gared, you'll continue to cover things in Walt Disney World even with the closure. There's still a lot of things to be paying attention to, because this is truly historic. Such a big moment in time. We're going to be covering every angle of it, and I'll be doing the same out here for Disneyland.
Yeah, only in the history of Walt Disney World has it ever closed it's only closed 7 times, and the majority of them have been for hurricanes. So first time that there was a closure due to something of this scale. Mm-hmm. But I'll be checking out Disney Springs, going to the hotels. Hopefully they'll let me in. Maybe I can get a dining reservation. But yeah, truly historic. But I'm going to see the bright side of things, and going to continue to bring magic to all our friends out there, because they deserve it. And the magic helps fill you with hope when there can be despair. So there's always magic, and I'll help supply that. And we connect you to more of what makes you happy right here at the Kingdom Report. What a way to tie things up.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.